and Joan here, and we're here at the beautiful Greenhouse Gardens in Chandler, which is our local farmers market with Jeanine McChesney and Cameron McChesney. And they have a wonderful story about how it came to fruition. Maybe you could begin by telling us your story, how you got here.
And I'm going to zoom in.
From, and you know how this whole idea evolved.
Oh, and just now we got a leaf blower going.
Can we stop for a minute? Or?
He's probably going to be over there a while.
Yeah. Well, we'll just talk
So-
louder.
There we go.
We've been married for 20 years, and one of the things that we had in common when we met was backyard gardening. Janine's grandmother was a master gardener in California, and my grandfather was a gardener in New York. So we grew up with that, and so when we rented our first house, we made an itty-bitty little 2-foot by 2-foot garden on our rental property and grew a few things. And every time we've moved to a new house, we made a bigger and bigger garden. And the last house that we moved into 12 years ago, we made such a large garden in our backyard that we had extra food. And after we gave it to all our family and friends, we started knocking on neighbors' doors, begging people to take lettuce and tomatoes and peppers from us. And the response was really amazing, and that gave us the idea that maybe we could scale things up and do it on a bigger scale. So 7 years ago, we took over my friend's backyard, filled it completely full of gardening space, and for 2 years grew vegetables and sold them at the Power Ranch Farmers Market.
Oh, yeah.
And still loved what we were doing. So 5 years ago, we purchased this property. Greenhouse Gardens is now just shy of 4 acres large. And it used to be the Riggs family homestead. Lyle and Willetta Riggs moved here in 1948, and they raised their 5 kids here. And Lyle farmed about 500 acres in southeast Chandler.
So that's how they named it Riggs Road.
Riggs Road.
Lyle and Loretta?
Lyle and Willetta.
Lyle and Willetta Riggs.
Very active in the community with 4-H, with their church programs as well. We're the first non-Riggs family members to be here since 1948.
Wow, it's an honor for you to be here.
Yeah.
Have you met several of the Riggs family?
We
Yes.
have, yes, actually.
Cheryl Riggs, Cheryl Summerall now, is the youngest daughter. She lived on the back property. We bought the front piece first to use as our gardens. And then after about a year, we were able to purchase her piece. So she told us all about the history. And then we've had a lot of family members stop by and tell us about how they played here as children and what the house used to look like. And had all kinds of stories to tell us.
So that was 1948. So what are the youngest children, in their 60s? Or?
Yeah, Cheryl's probably early 60s, mid 60s now.
And how many acres do you have here now?
4.
We're just shy of 4 acres now with the 2 pieces combined. And this is really the last of the Riggs family homestead. They didn't grow anything here, but they had tons of animals, lived here, stored all of their tractor equipment here. So we're proud to keep it. We've kept the front of the property as is, the way we found it. We just cleared out this back area to put our growing space in.
What kinds of things did they used to grow, and what kind of livestock did they have? The Riggs.
Yes, they had lots of animals. They had cows and pigs and things like that, but they also were very much into growing large crops, such as...
Lyle grew predominantly cotton and alfalfa in the big fields. And then with their children and their involvement with the 4-H program, I think that's how they got involved with the sheep and the goats and the cows and the horses and the ponies.
Yes, exactly.
All sorts of things.
So what have you got? Chickens, all right?
We have chickens, and Cheryl had a bunch of cats on the back property. Most of them were rehomed to her new ranch, but 5 of them stayed behind and hung out and adopted us. So we have some barn cats as well.
So how did you decide what to grow, and what was it like? Because Cameron, you're from New York, and you're from San Jose?
Yes, San Jose, California.
Yes. So those are really separate entities altogether.
Yeah.
All different climates. What was it like coming here, growing in the Phoenix area compared to the New York area and San Jose area?
Definitely different seasons, but our biggest resource was the University of Arizona Maricopa County planting schedule. We found that early, and we've been following that for 20 years. About.
Trial and error too.
It's still a good
You know, when you
resource.
move from a different climate and you come to a desert climate, it makes a big difference how you grow your crops, how you water your crops, and it was a big learning curve for us at the beginning because we were used to planting differently. So trial and error.
Lots of trial and error.
Yeah.
20 years of trial and error.
Yeah.
What is your address here? We were just talking about widening the street. Tell them a little bit about it. Sorry, Joan.
Yeah, no, go
Okay.
ahead.
The address is 13103 East Chandler Heights Road. So we're on Chandler Heights between Gilbert and Cooper, and they are going to be widening both Cooper and Chandler Heights here in the next
year and a half.
Yeah. So we're a little nervous about that, but the city of Chandler's done really well by us so far, and since we're a business, they will make sure that we stay open. We also have the benefit of being a county island, actually, so we're not part of the city of Chandler, so we think that they'll take extra nice care of us.
So Cameron, you told me a little bit about what you grow here and that it is organic. Can you explain to us what organic really is?
Sure. We use all the same organic principles as any other place. We are not certified organic. We don't feel the need to hire a company to come in and say, yes, we're certified organic, but we're using all the same principles. So we use no chemical fertilizers, no pesticides, really only naturally occurring elements, and compost and clean water. There's enough nutrients in the native soil to last lifetimes if we can add the organic material to make it available for the plants. So that's really the only thing that we need to add. We do occasionally send out soil samples to the IAS laboratories in Phoenix, and they come back and give us recommendations for naturally occurring elements that we can add to the soil to change the microorganisms and the mineral contents. So we do that perhaps once a year.
Do they ever suggest worm castings or any special kind of mulch? Or
They actually make very specific recommendations. We were low on phosphorus this time around, so we added soft rock phosphate, which is a fossilized marine animal that's mined in Florida, of all places.
Wow.
But it's a naturally occurring source of phosphorus. Chicken manure, by Hickman's organic chicken manure to add for the nitrogen component, all the way down to the tiniest little sprinkling of boron, which is important for strong cell walls in your vegetables.
I've heard a lot about this rock phosphorus because when I tried to grow tomatoes, I grew a few. I mean, they're lots of green, but very few fruit, and so that's when I first heard about this rock phosphorus, and I'm still getting adjusted. Coming from, I lived in Southern Cal, in Ventura, Santa Barbara for a long time. Then I moved up to the Bay Area, and I'm still trying to figure out, like, what do you do with this soil to grow anything in? Can you do any kind of simple recommendations for the backyard gardeners that we are on what do we need to do with the soil in order to grow things other than cactuses?
Sure.
Maybe get it tested. I don't know.
Yeah, that actually would be the answer that I give it, is to test it.
Test it first?
We're not soil scientists. We did not go to school to be soil scientists, so we rely on the professionals. We have a friend who just put in their very first 4-foot by 4-foot raised garden in their backyard. They bought soil from Home Depot, put vegetables in, and had terrible success. We said, take a sample down to the lab. So for $75, it's worth it. They give you exact recommendations for how much you should add based on your square footage, and they have already seen a remarkable difference in their
Wow.
growth in the past season.
Do you mail it to this lab, or you drive there in Phoenix somewhere?
We
Or?
just typically you drive it. I would imagine you could mail it. It's called IAS Labs,
It's
and
near the airport.
they're a professional
Oh, okay.
soil and water test company.
Yeah. And their soil ended up having too much salt.
Yeah.
And so what our recommendation was to them was to actually water a little bit more to push those salts away from the actual plants themselves, which would give it a better chance at making it through and doing its work that it needs to do.
So the purchased soil ended up being too salty.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the city water tends to have a lot of mineral content and salt. And so the first thing they did before adding their amendments was spent 2 weeks flushing the soil twice a day, heavily watering it so that all that salt is being pushed away. Then they added their amendments, and now they're having success.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So you use just regular city water.
We are
Okay.
currently using regular city water. We are in the process of, we also have a well on property. We're in the process of connecting our well to the irrigation system as well.
Perfect.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Would the well water be better maybe than the city water,
Yes.
less mineral?
Yes, as long as the
Salt.
water does not have a high salt content that you're pulling out of the ground, which ours does not, and most of Chandler does not. It doesn't have all of the chemicals that the city uses to clean the water to make it drinkable. And so I think that anecdotally, I don't have direct evidence, but I think that the city water sort of stunts the growth of the vegetables slightly.
So native Phoenicians have told me that we don't have seasons here. We have weather.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree?
Yeah.
It's crazy weather.
Weather this year for sure.
It's great today.
Quite a
It's
few
probably
fluctuations.
68
It's very
maybe.
true. We can grow almost all year long. We do take off August and September to prep for the big fall plantings, but we're still growing herbs and melons and summer-loving cucumbers at that time of the year. And so really it's just a matter of saying goodbye to that crop and moving forward with the next one. So we're very lucky here. As long as you can learn to work with the weather. Like March is very windy and it makes it very difficult sometimes to put in tall tomato plants. So
Yeah, they blow over.
But that's why that Maricopa County planting schedule is so important, because we have a unique growing climate. If you miss planting something by a couple of weeks, you're not going to have any success with that crop. And so we've been following that, and it's very helpful.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah.
And what I enjoy about coming to your farmer's market is that you always seem to have everything that I'm looking for, even though it's much smaller than, I won't say the big one that's in the area, like unbelievably huge, but and this is like right here in our own backyard. So, and we get to meet you and we get to see what's actually growing here too.
absolutely.
And we wanted to focus on the vegetables. There is a wide variety of vegetables you can grow at any given time. So we have, 20 different vegetable varieties. It changes through the season. And then we wanted our farmers market to focus on the vegetables. A lot of the local farmers markets, we feel, have moved away from vegetables and are more product driven. And that's not what we think of when we think of a farmers market.
Candles and cinnamon rolls and
baked goods and things like
Yeah.
that, which are great, but you have to have a supply of vegetables.
Yeah.
And so we focus on that. We do have a few other vendors in our market that complement our vegetables, but always the focus is on the vegetables.
And are you non-GMO, or does it even matter with
Your seeds?
GMO?
Most seed companies don't have GMO seeds anymore. I think that the GMO debate is very interesting. We as humans have been genetically modifying our vegetables since the beginning of time. So that I always laugh, GMO, yes, we've been doing it, we just haven't done it as rapidly and in the lab. We've done it in the field, but we've been doing it forever. So I think most seed companies have moved away from that. We try to buy organic seeds when possible. but really it's, you know, how you're growing it.
Wonderful. So maybe you can show us what's here from the Riggs farm and a little bit about the history. I know that you've left
That's
some
more in the
things
barn,
on
isn't it?
purpose, just so the public knows about the history
Let's go
of
take a
this
look at the
whole
farm.
area.
Okay.
I think that's
What's
fascinating.
under cover here?
Oh, what's
These
over
are-
here?
These are the tomato sprouts that we put in.
Can we peek while we're here? Because once we get to the
Oh.
barn, then we'll be in
And
behind.
you have
Oh,
a
they're
shade
babies.
block, or you have a
Little
We have them
babies.
covered with our
That's
insect
cute.
netting.
And then you've got the little metal.
Yes.
Hopefully you can see that.
We're trying to
Hard to
create
see.
a sort of mini greenhouse
Yeah.
to
Oh.
get these guys started.
These are edible nasturtiums here for salads.
Yes. Lots of
I
nasturtiums.
see onions back there. Looks like.
Onions. We've got
Garlic
lots
or-
of garlic as well.
In the farm bed.
And then-
Celery as well.
And
Looks
do you
like-
grow all kinds of tomatoes or
We do.
certain varieties?
Yes, we try to pick varieties. Watch your stuff here. Try to pick varieties that are climate friendly to our environment. We have a very short window before it gets too hot, and so we want to make sure that you can get a fruit that sets quickly and is going to give you, you know, something before it gets burnt up here. It gets very hot very quick.
So
Oh,
is
yeah.
tomato season here in the spring?
Tomato
or is it in the
season-
fall? Or, or
Tomato
what?
season is now until July.
Okay.
I've seen pictures of people on the internet that are already starting to get harvest here in Arizona. If you were really on it earlier and kept them warm throughout the erratic February weather, you definitely would have a treat right now. We're hoping to have something by the end of May, and then all through the rest until the end of July.
I've also read that it's healthier for you if you eat during what's growing in your local season versus you know, getting something from Chile or you know, something that's off season.
Absolutely, and that's one thing that we have learned in this journey that we're on here, this food journey, is that when you eat seasonally, you're getting more densely nutritious food, and it's meant to be eaten during that season, and that's why we don't have a problem when a crop gets bug infested and it's done. We move on because that means that nature is telling us it's time to plant the next crop. Which is what happened in this bed behind us, which we're turning over today. The aphids got all of the chard and the kale and
that
the
happened to
broccoli.
me.
So, hey, but that's nature.
I just pulled it out. Yeah.
Absolutely, it's done. We're done with that.
Yeah.
We give it to the chickens and they're
Yeah.
happy to go.
What's this? This looks like hollyhocks or what is that?
No, these
What
are
is-
actually, it's green flowers that we use for the bouquets.
Oh.
Lauren, who does the bouquets for the market, is experimenting with lots of different foliage to put
Oh.
in besides the flowers.
Because that would be a
Bells
nice
of
pop of
Ireland.
contrast,
Yes, I think
kind of.
that's what it's called. Yes.
Well, this looks like status. So you sell bouquets here? Last
Yes,
time
we
I
do.
came, it was you had beef and you had eggs and you had vegetables and soap. A lady was selling
Yes.
soap here.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
I didn't
Now we have
know-
a coffee vendor as well.
Oh,
He's
wow.
a local roaster that does really fun and unique flavors. So it's all people that kind of need, you know, are looking to get their product out there and have a love of what they're doing. So
Really.
yeah, come this way.
And I've purchased your eggs. They taste way better.
Yes.
She told everybody in the garden club, "You'll love their eggs." She said.
They probably have more. I'm going for the nutritional value of the eggs, so I figure if they cost more and they're not that much more, you want to, you know, really get as much nutrition out
From
of
happy
your,
chickens,
what,
right?
your omegas and all that.
Oh yeah, our girls are usually out. We have them in right now because we would work for the beds and they'll come and find the bugs. But they eat bugs, they eat out of the compost, they eat really well actually on Thursdays and Fridays when we do the green harvest because they get all the leftovers.
They're happy chickens.
Happy girls, yeah. And during the summer, and now actually they roam around, and that's why we have this deer fence up because they'll get into the beds. So
Eat
we
them.
adapted to them, honestly.
Yeah.
And in the summer they hang out underneath the citrus tree in the groves there on the other
Keep
side
cool.
of the barn, and it keeps them much cooler. They're very, very happy girls.
Well, the shells are harder too.
Yeah.
So when I do the hard boiled
Oh.
eggs, the whole shell comes right off
Oh.
instead with all the egg white part and
Oh.
the shell.
Maybe more minerals or something.
So I'll let Cameron give you a tour of the barn here.
I remember from our field trip, it was interesting.
This is our barn.
You're in the shade, but
Lyle Riggs built the barn in 1950, and most of the things that are on the walls are the way we found them. All of his old
Oh,
tools,
this is amazing.
empty paint cans.
Riggs
And
family.
Look
then
at
as
this.
we
1948.
as we find treasures, as we were cleaning up the property, we added them here as well. And our plan is to keep it this way forever and ever and ever.
Now, was
If you
this
had
some-
pickers come, they would love all this stuff.
We've had a lot of people come through and say, ooh, ah.
I filled this,
And we
right?
said,
Yeah.
no way.
What is that, a game? Of
Yeah, it's a Connect 4 game that
Oh,
has been around. You have all the
right.
little discs that come out.
What do you do? You
larger-
throw something at it?
No, it's
No,
like
you do the discs.
it's like throw these all out. They actually come out of the bottom, and you try to line up your colors. One
Oh, but the other person will block you with their colors.
Exactly.
Oh,
person's white. So yeah, all the little treasures on the wall. The wall is actually made out of some of the old cotton trailers that they used to haul the cotton from the field to the cotton gin.
Oh, wow.
even this old red work box here is pretty. 10 buckaroos, huh? Is this chicken footprints?
Chicken
Yes.
footprints.
That's funny. Look, it looks like a pattern.
There.
It's like a pattern. Oh, be darn.
Oh, after it rains, it's really sweet.
10 buckaroos. Squash. Oh, we got what? Tomatoes here?
Whoa,
These are,
those look
our
really,
next round of tomato sprouts that are going to be going in tomorrow.
those are really healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So why did Mr. Riggs leave all this? When he passed away, the kids just left all these antiques and things here?
Exactly. He
Huh.
passed away. Loletta outlived him for quite a while, so she lived in the house by herself. When she passed, the house was sold to a cousin. And then we purchased it from the cousin and then purchased the back property from Cheryl. That's
Now,
Birdie the cat.
Hey,
is
Birdie.
this her house in the front?
Birdie's
Or is
chilling.
That's
Something you
chilling.
built?
No, that's been there. We actually just did, we looked at the aerial historical photographs.
Oh,
And the oldest one that we found is from 1949. So the family had already moved here, but the house, not in its current state, but in its original state, was already built. And the two white buildings, we were told, are World War II surplus buildings. And they were brought here sometime after the war ended in 45 as storage buildings.
and you're using one for refrigerator, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I remember that from the field trip.
And then the Riggs expanded the original tiny house that we think was probably built in the late 30s to early 40s and expanded it over the time that they lived here to suit their growing family. It's now a 3,000 square foot house.
Oh my gosh, is that big?
It's very sizable. So we have
You don't
some
live
of the
there,
rooms
do you?
in the back that
You
we
live
use
there?
for
No.
the business, and then the front of the house we rent out to a family.
Oh.
So I'm really curious, what made you decide to go into this line of business? Because so many people would say, oh, that's way too much of a risk, you know?
We, again, just from the backyard gardening, had a love of it. We like hosting parties, having people come to a common place and enjoy their time, and just it really grew out of that. And we thought we could take it on. The big question before starting was, can you make any money doing this? And we asked around and talked to some other farms. Surprisingly or interestingly, a lot of farms are not interested in sharing information. Farmers tend to hold their stuff close to their chest and don't want to share with somebody who might be a competitor. But we had a farm on the East Coast that referred us to a book written by Jean-Martin Fortier. He's a Canadian guy.
French, yeah.
Yeah, Jean-Martin Fortier, and he wrote a book called Market Gardener, How to Be a Market Gardener.
Oh.
He's been doing it for 15, 20 years now, and his book spells out how to build your own market garden. So he adapted his philosophies from his Canadian farm to Arizona, like a few other farms in this area have been doing as well.
What is
So
he
what
still
do the
alive?
two of you do when you want to take a vacation?
We don't.
Do you have a backup plan? Forget that.
we don't.
Good question, but
We went from having the graphic design and advertising business that like worked together to build, and we had to decide, did we want to make not only the physical sacrifice but the sacrifice of the extra time and money that we would have. And we knew it was a project and a baby, and we were willing to forego those vacations, spend time here enjoying life with our kids, and just hunker down for a little while and spend time growing our business.
So
we've been
doing what you really love.
it was a risk,
We've
but
been self-employed since 2002, so in our
Fantastic.
previous life. So
In our previous life.
working 6 days a week, many hours is not that foreign to us.
what day do you take off? 'Cause
We get
Sunday.
Sundays
Okay,
off,
because your
so we
market's
get to-
Saturday.
We get
That's
to do
right.
our laundry on Sunday.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, coming from the Bay Area now, young people very seldom have time off.
Yes.
They really work 7. Yeah.
corporate ladder,
like
you mean, or
corporate, computer industry, the tech industry. I'm talking about the tech industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, starting a business is never easy, and I think that's one thing that you have the big idea, but putting it into play and implementing all the pieces that go into it takes a lot of time. So we might not work in the evenings, but Cameron's doing the accounting, I'm doing
Yeah.
the marketing, we're planning things for the future. We have a big party here this weekend, so we're going to be cleaning the barn up, but we're not actually working on the garden stuff.
Did somebody rent it for a party?
Yeah, we have
Right.
a really nice group coming, and they're
Oh.
having a 16-person dinner with a private chef in this space.
Wow, right here where
Right
we
here
are?
where we're
Oh,
sitting.
wow, with probably a plaid checkered tablecloth and,
Table right down the middle.
Yeah.
We got our sparkly lights up above.
oh, it'll
We
be
turn
fun.
our wash station over there into the kitchen.
Yeah,
It started before
Yeah.
COVID came along that we were having a couple of farm-to-table dinners, usually one in the spring and one in the fall. 50 guests with a different chef each time that would come in and make a 7-course meal featuring the vegetables from the farm.
wow.
Wonderful.
That's kind of been pared down to some small parties now, but eventually we will be back doing our farm-to-table
I
dinners.
didn't know that.
I can't wait. I want to come.
Yeah, I think we should have a garden club luncheon out here. And then do we wear our jeans and our Western attire, maybe? Our cowgirl
Or
stuff.
bring your tennis shoes and shovel.
There
what
you
guys to
go.
wear.
My
So-
daughter and son-in-law live in Tempe, and they got married in 2017. And they were actually looking for something like this, but we didn't know anything about you. So they had their reception at the Deuce. I don't know if you heard.
Yeah.
But it's like a takeoff of this concept, really.
Ah, farm to
Indoor,
table.
outdoor, farm to table, and even the inside, looks very much like this.
Right.
2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, we had a wedding reception for 15 people in the barn. Couple
Right
that got
here.
married a year and a half ago, and their reception plans got canceled because of
Oh.
the virus. And they finally were able to get their family to come out and have their wedding reception in the barn.
Oh, wonderful.
Did you put pictures on your Facebook of the bride and that?
No, I haven't.
We
haven't.
haven't.
I worked that event, so.
Oh, you weren't taking
Busy.
pictures.
I was
Oh,
still in the
We were
bar.
serving
Oh.
food.
Yeah, exactly.
I see your owl back there. Do you have bunny troubles here? I have 11 in my yard sometimes, rabbits. They're overrun.
We haven't had any real rabbit problems. We have a tremendous problem with the ground squirrels.
Oh,
First.
Ground
Gophers?
pocket squirrels, whatever they call them. It's a major problem. And since we don't use any poisons, it's
Oh,
hard
yeah.
to get rid of them.
yeah.
So maybe
don't
you
like
can
getting
show
in the
us your
traps.
girls, your chicken.
Yeah, let's go see the
Chicken
chickens.
coop.
Should we let him out?
Yeah.
I could hear them somewhere in the distance.
Hello, baby.
We were here last time. You found an egg somewhere and you go, oh, that's Cicely's egg or whatever her name was. Hi, girls. Hi, girls. I'm shooting into the sun here.
Ready?
All different kinds.
Oh, look at that.
They're
I bet the kids love these chickens.
Absolutely.
And the adults.
Look at this little fuzzy one here. Look at that one. Do you know the names of all the breeds?
Not all of them.
What's this one? That fuzzy one?
She's a silky.
I've never
Her
seen.
name's Allie 2. Allie 1 is around here somewhere.
Oh, look at there's a big. Maybe it's like that one. Is that a silky? That big white?
No,
No?
she's a cochin, the big white one with the furry legs.
Wow.
They, all of our hens are adopted.
Really?
They all
Oh.
come from families that had them in their backyards and either couldn't keep them any longer or didn't want to keep them any longer. So 5 or 6 times now we've taken in hens, and we're up to 37 right
You've
now.
got more than you had a couple years ago when we were
Yes.
here.
So how long do they live, and how long do they keep producing eggs?
Chickens will live 6 to 7 years, 6 to 8 years, somewhere like that. And then most of the breeds usually taper off their laying after maybe 4 years or so. So about half of the girls don't lay anymore.
Yeah.
But again, because we adopted them, they just get to live out the rest
Yeah.
of their lives here.
They're not going to be in a stewing pot, right?
Right.
They're family.
For instance, the chicken that Jeanine is holding, her name is Mabel. We've had her for quite a few years now, 4 years now, and she's blind.
Oh, really?
She has cataracts and can
I can't tell.
Yeah.
By looking
Barely.
at them.
barely
Oh,
see.
right in the center of
Yep,
the
see
it's
how it's
cloudy.
cloudy?
Oh, yeah.
So she lost her sight about 6-8 months ago, and
It's-
the other girls started to pick on her, and we love her so, and so
Mm-hmm.
we put her in a special cage at night so that she's safe, and then she has a special place in the barn she hangs out during the day.
Because the pecking order is a real thing,
Absolutely.
isn't it? Right, right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the top picker? The head of
Well,
the.
it changes, and because we are integrating 2 separate flocks currently,
Oh.
there's still a little bit of mixing up going on, but they
They
are
tend-
all getting along now. So
Yeah, and they tend to separate into their 2 separate flocks.
They
One goes over
do.
and hangs out the compost pile. The other group hangs out under the citrus trees.
Oh, one of the leaders says we're going this way. One of the
Yeah.
leaders says we're
but
going that.
everybody has a different personality.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
ones that are around your ankles right now, they're Moon and Summer. They
Getting a drink.
kind of are a little bit of pranksters. They like to get up in people's business and cause a
Oh.
little trouble.
Oh, they peck at their shoes or
Yeah.
something.
And then some girls just like want to be left alone. Just let me lay here and be alone.
So where do they lay? They don't get up in a just
We've got-
anywhere.
We've got boxes in here. Wanna take a look?
So do they like to be up on a shelf or something
Yes.
when they lay?
So every day when the sun goes down under the horizon, all the chickens by themselves walk in here.
Yeah,
They spend their night up high on these shelves.
they're perched up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
They always come back and lay their eggs in these boxes.
Wow,
With
I
the
see an
exception of a
egg.
few,
I see an egg.
we occasionally
Yeah.
find
Do
you
an
see an egg?
here and there.
Yeah. Ooh, an egg.
Oh, did it crack? Oh no.
Right out of the
No.
coop.
Yeah.
Fresh.
Is it still warm?
Yep.
Are they warm?
Yeah,
They're
would
warm-blooded, aren't they? Yeah.
So they put themselves away at night, and then we come and close the door so that the coyotes, which is the big
Yes.
problem for them, and the owls, so that they
Oh,
don't
I
get
see.
Yeah.
by those.
And
guys.
do you have to heat them or something when it gets really cold, or no?
You don't have to. However, we notice that their egg production drops pretty significantly in the
Oh,
cold,
wow.
as well as the heat and the wind and the rain
Oh.
and anything else.
Huh.
But so we do put heat lamps in there for the winter, and we do put plastic on the walls, and it keeps
Keep
them
'em
just a few
warmer.
degrees warmer at night. And we've noticed that keeps the egg production up more.
Wonderful. So maybe you can tell us about the farmers market,
Yes.
Absolutely.
like
Yes.
the time and what kind of vendors you have.
And let's walk up towards that area while we talk about it.
We should have come on Saturday maybe when all the.
Yeah.
I could come back. before
Could you?
we view this in April and add some of the activity of the
I think
farmers
that would be
market.
nice.
So the farmers market's every Saturday, 9 a.m. to noon, right here on our property. That was very important when we were setting out to find a property. We wanted to have a farmers market at the actual place where the vegetables were being grown.
Yeah.
Now, if you can't make it on Saturday, is there a way to order from you, like a box of produce or something, or no?
Yes, we have started a Wednesday midweek
Oh.
garden box, we call it.
Oh,
What
good
we
question.
do is we'll put together 7 to 8 different items. Always a good mix of leafy greens, root vegetables, herbs, fruit when it's available.
Wonderful.
And people can order that online. And then pickup is on Wednesday evening between 4 and 7.
Oh, fantastic.
so at your website, which is what, greenhousegarden.farm?
We actually
Guard? I don't know. What is it?
we direct everybody to our Facebook page,
Oh.
Greenhouse Gardens AZ. We also have Greenhouse Gardens on Instagram. And then the best way to reach out to me is directly through my email, which is cam@greenhousecreative.net.
Okay,
Very
so
good.
but ordering the vegetables for Wednesday would be your email?
Yes.
Okay, the
emailing me.
You
Cam.
have to order them by Monday or Saturday, or
We ask that the orders be placed by Tuesday at noon. Then we gather everything up on Wednesday morning and do the pickup on Wednesday evening.
oh, fantastic.
This is our farmers market.
It was just full of people when I was here last, and full of. I love the wooden tables.
The tables are made out of the old stables, animal stables that were here on the property that we took down. We saved all of the wood, and then my father built these tables from scratch.
Wow, wonder what kind of trees these were. Wonder if they were pecan or.
No
I don't
idea.
know.
I love the fact that this bottom board has the curvy edges.
Yes.
That's where the animals poke their heads through
Yes.
and would look back and forth, and it eventually wore this great shape into it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, they do. They'd stick their necks out.
We've got our refrigerated case. So another option for midweek availability for our vegetables is our honor system. Got the good old-fashioned honor system. So when we have a few leftover vegetables after the Saturday market, we load up our fridge. And then we have a little metal dish on the top right shelf that you can put
your money in.
into.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I've been hearing more about elderberry. Did you meet the elderberry syrup lady? Did you tell me?
I did meet her, and you have it here.
Yes, Heather came by
Is she
quite a while.
actually here also on Saturday sometime?
She came a few times, but most of the time she just drops off a supply for people to pick up on their own. Some products too, some tea, elderberry tea.
It's supposed to have a lot of medicinal benefits
Yeah,
for people.
elderberry's got
Yeah.
a lot of medicinal
Oh, look at the
benefits.
flowers for the
Yeah, the
salad.
flowers. Oh, and orange
That's
juice.
so pretty, and nasturtiums, and oh, that'd be pretty on a
Meats,
salad.
cabbage in there. You have a lot
Well,
of
this
stuff
is
in
just
there.
Monday, so your sale was probably Saturday, and yeah, it's still fresh.
A few extras, you can pick them up through the week.
So where do you get the ducks? You don't have the ducks here, right?
We don't. We actually have a partner. Lauren and Frank own La Campagna Homestead.
Oh.
They are 7 miles down Chandler Heights, and they own a 2-acre, one of the old horse properties out there.
Oh.
And they have converted half of their property into garden space just like we have.
La Campagna.
We met Lauren years and years ago. She and I actually took a gardening class together through the extension program. And then she started her property or her farm just under 3 years ago. And so we said, come on over. First we were just selling a little bit of our extra produce at our farmer's market just to help out. And quickly we figured out that we really ought to partner together. So we take that entire vegetable list, split it in half, and she grows half, and we grow half, and then we bring all the vegetables here to the farmer's market and sell them on Saturdays.
Wow. Then she brings the duck eggs.
And she has the ducks.
Ducks.
She has some chickens as well.
Oh.
She has the ducks.
Fantastic.
So this is the 3,000 square foot home that you rent, and then the back is just storage. Looks like bicycles or something back
We have a
there.
little storage here. If you'd like, I can show you. We've got some seeds that we sprout indoors.
You had a big rack last time.
Yep.
Have you got some in there?
That's in
That's fun to see. Joan
Here
hasn't
we are
seen
up
that.
there.
What? See what?
R for rigs. on
Oh
the
yeah,
chimney.
yeah, yeah. Can we zoom in on that?
Actually, from the Ryan family originally.
Oh.
Apparently predate the Riggs, not on this property, but someplace else. And
The-
when the Ryan
Oh.
demo their house, the Riggs family grabbed the art.
Oh.
Oh, very
And you
good.
noticed it. I didn't even see it. I think those chicken tracks are cute to look at, aren't they? Yeah. You know, it is kind of windy in March. 40 minutes, 40 minutes.
This is where we store our vegetables.
And these were World War II surplus buildings?
World War II surplus buildings, been here at least since pre-49, because they were the
Wow.
oldest photograph that we saw.
Wow.
The Riggs family used a portion of this building as their pantry, where they stored their canned and jarred goods.
Yeah, canning was really popular in the...
But we converted it into our walk-in refrigerator.
Uh-huh. This is big. Oh, look, we've got radishes, it looks like here.
So we built a room inside of the building and then put 6 inches of insulation on all the surfaces.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you can see that. It smells like a little bit of garlic or cilantro or something.
smells garlic's right there.
Oh, there's the garlic. Even through my mask. Cake topper.
Prickly pears.
that was from a party, don't film that.
Oh.
Okay.
Pear
And then we
jelly.
use these standard window-mounted air conditioners
Yeah.
hooked up to a device called a CoolBot that fools the air conditioner into running more. And so it is, now that we walked in here,
36.
36 degrees in here. It was
Yeah.
34 before we walked in.
And then we warmed it up.
Yes.
Boy, it looks like, what are these, turnips?
Turnips?
Yeah.
Purple top turnips.
What kind of radishes are these? Or is that what those are?
These are more turnips, actually.
Oh, are they?
Purple on top, white on bottom. They're
Oh.
called Hinonakabu turnips.
Mm.
Sweet salad turnips.
Never heard of Hanona Kabu.
Oh.
Eat them raw. You don't cook 'em.
So in the summer, do you walk in here just to cool off?
Yes, we do.
I'm sure they get overheated.
Benefit.
Yeah.
Kinda nice.
What kind of a tree is that, Cameron? That's huge. It looks like...
Mulberry tree.
Oh, do you get mulberries?
No, they're mulberry trees. To get fruit, you need both the male and the female
Yeah.
tree. And we have either one or the other. but
Okay,
not
there's a
both.
man.
Nice
It's
and big.
huge.
So it fills that area up and shades it quite nice.
I had my
Big
first
tree.
mulberry on a field trip to
Yeah.
Cecilia's garden.
Oh, look at all the starters.
Yeah, this is what I remember. Aren't they cute little babies?
Yeah.
These were seeds.
Yes.
And now you have magenta. This is, smells good in here too.
So we've got lots of lettuce. Then we have some kohlrabi there up on top.
Oh yeah.
Green
Yeah,
and
is this
red,
kohlrabi?
Green and purple,
Yeah.
yes. And
Those are,
so those are sprouts that are going to go out into the field in 2 days. And a little bit of broccoli there on the left.
so you've got a grow light.
Parsley on the bottom.
Parsley on the bottom.
So are you going to grow any marijuana?
No.
No.
Don't know how
We-
to grow marijuana. So I
Oh,
don't
we
know.
asked some other nurseries, and they said they're thinking about it. They're thinking about it. There's money in it. Yeah.
Possible.
Yeah.
That's a whole specialized industry.
Yeah, it is.
Sure
It is.
Yeah.
They grow in pots.
A lot goes
Okay.
into
Anything we missed here?
it. Okay.
I don't know.
Fantastic.
Any other questions we can think of?
You said that the honors. Can you tell us again about the honor system
Yes.
and when people can come?
People can come anytime they want to use the honor system.
So
The fridge is always
come
available and
to the
always
refrigerator.
open. Go right to the refrigerator
And pick
and
out
whatever's
something.
in there. Right now we
Fantastic.
always
I didn't
have
know
lettuce.
that.
We've always got the chicken eggs and the duck eggs in there. And then there's usually a collection of a handful of other things depending on what's what we have a lot of at the time. But yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
always available.
I'm low on eggs and low on. I think I have
well,
some.
now you know.
Yeah, I'm
Lower
cash in the car.
refrigerator.
Those little sprouts are so cute, the little baby sprouts under the grow lights. I know, they're so colorful. So 9 until 12 on Saturdays.
Saturdays, every
Yeah.
single week.
So that's your biggest merchant day. Really?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You work for that all week.
We plant all our vegetables Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, harvest all day Thursday and Friday, and then sell it all on Saturday.
Okay.
Well, I just want to thank you for meeting with us. It really shows that it's a real love that you're doing. And it gives back to the community. You're showing
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was
Yep.
really what we wanted to do, was to serve
Sure.
the immediate area. Some farms want to ship their produce where it needs to be shipped. Some farms want to focus on serving restaurants. We really wanted to have a community garden where people could come and buy local produce, exchange recipes across the table, and meet new people, meet their neighbors.
leads to my very last question. What kind of little community events do you do here at the farmers market?
Well, we have our farm to table dinners. If you get on our email list or follow us on Facebook, you can keep up with that. We've got garden folks like you coming through. We work with school-aged children as well. We were working with the Montessori school for a while. They were helping to design and build an herb garden for us. We just had another school, K through 8, came through with their learners and told them about gardening, doing their lessons. So
we have a lot of school-age volunteers that are interested in earning some volunteer hours. Programs they may be enrolled in, and it's been fun to have those kids turn into potential workers. That's how we've gotten all our employees, actually, kids that have volunteered that have turned into paid employees. And additionally, we're always open. You know, if anybody out there has an idea of how an event they'd like to host or have something happening here at the garden that fits in with our message and the community feel that we've got going, feel free to pitch us an idea.
I think our club next fall, maybe we should do when it cools off, and have a farm to table, and we'll just pay a chef, and you guys can bring in your veggies. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Well, thank you again for sharing your wonderful garden. It's obviously a labor of love. Thanks for sharing
So
much. We
bye.
appreciate it.
Bye.
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 Bye.